تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد.
Shall we start with page number 5? Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabina Muhammad alayhi salam. Salatan tadumu wa tuhda ilayhi mamar al-layali wa tula dawam. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا ليغفرك الله ما تقدم من ذنبك وما تأخر ويتم نعمته عليك ويهديك صراطا مستقيما وينصرك الله نصرا عزيزا. لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم. فإن تولوا فقل حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الفاتحة لنا ولكم يا حاضرون ووالدنا ووالدكم وأهلنا وأولادنا ولمشايخنا ولمن حضرنا ولمن غاب عنا ولأحيائنا ولأمواتنا وللمواظبين على هذا المجلس ولمن كان سببا في جمعنا بأن الله الكريم ينبر القلوب ويغفر الذنوب ويستر الغيوب ويحفظنا بما حفظ به الذكر وينصرنا بما نصر به الرسول. وأن الله الكريم يجعل مجلسنا هذا محاطا بالخيرات والمسرات والأنوار والبركات ويقضي لنا جميع الحاجات بجاه خير البريات. وأن الله ينصر المسلمين وعلانية الله الكريم ينصر سلطان الأولياء مولانا الشيخ محمد ناظم عادل حقاني قدس الله السر بجاه خير الأنام. وعلى كل نية صالحة مع حسن الخاتمة عند الموت بعد عمر المديد في طاعة الله وإلى حضرة النبي بسر سورة الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أنت سلطاننا يا ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وتب علينا وزد حبيبك سيد الأولين والآخرين سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. زده يا ربي عزا وشرافا ونورا وسرورا وسلطانا ورضوانا رغم الأنف الشيطان ومن تبعه. عباد الله رجال الله أغيثونا بأهل الله وكونوا عوننا في الله عسى نهضى بفضل الله. ويا أقطاب ويا أنجاب ويا سادات ويا أحباب أنتم يا أولي الألباب تعالوا وانصروا بفضل الله. سألناكم ولزلفى رجوناكم وفي أمر قصدناكم فشد سألناكم ولزلفى رجوناكم وفي أمر قصدناكم فشدوا أمركم لله عباد الله رجال الله أغيثونا بأهل الله وكونوا عوننا في الله سنهضى بفضل الله فيا ربي بسادتي تحقق لي إشاراتي أساطعتي بشاراتي ويصفو أمرنا لله عباد الله رجال الله أغيثونا بأهل الله وكونوا عوننا في الله سنهضى بفضل الله بكشف الحجب عن عيني ورعف البين من بيني وصرف القلب والعين بنور الوجه يا الله عباد الله رجال الله أغيثونا بأهل الله وكونوا عوننا في الله سنهضى بفضل الله صلاة الله مولانا على من بالهدى جانا ومن بالحق أولانا شفي الخلق عند الله عباد الله رجال الله أغيثونا بأهل الله وكونوا عوننا في الله سنهضى بفضل الله مدد 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 يا سيدي مدد 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 يا رسول الله مدد يا أبو بكر الصديق مدد يا عمر فاروق مدد يا عثمان غني مدد يا إمام علي مدد 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 يا سيدي مدد 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 يا رسول الله مدد يا فاطمة زهراء مدد يا إمام حسن مدد يا إمام حسين مدد يا سلمان فارسي مدد 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 يا سيدي مدد 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 يا رسول الله مدد يا قاسم یا سید مدد 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 یا رسول الله مدد یا سوری مدد یا مدنی مدد یا شریف الدین مدد یا عبدالله مدد 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 یا سید مدد 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 یا رسول الله مدد یا شیخ ناظم مدد یا شیخ شام مدد یا شیخ عدنان مدد یا شیخ عادل مدد 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 یا سید مدد 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 یا رسول الله مدد یا صاحب الوقت مدد یا فردانی مدد یا صدیقون مدد یا یمنی مدد یا امام العارفین مدد یا سخاوی مدد یا مربی ملحان مدد یا وطلنا مدد 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 یا سید مدد 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 یا رسول الله مدد یا امام مهدی مدد یا خلیفة الله مدد یا امام مهدی مدد یا خلیفة الله مدد 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 یا سید مدد 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 یا رسول الله.
Inshallah, page number 4, 6, and 12 on the Farsi PDF.
سر کوی بلند فریاد کردم علی شیر خدا را یاد کردم علی شیر خدا دردم دوا کن مناجات مرا پیش خدا کن مولا علی جانم مولا علی جان مولا علی جانم مولا علی جان امیر المومنین یا شاه مردان یار یا شاه مردان یار یا شاه مردان دل ناشاد ایمان را شاد و گر
مردان مولا علی جانم علی جان مولا علی جانم مولا علی جان
اگر دوزخ به زیر پوست داری
نسوزگر علی را گوست داری اگه مهر علی در سینه از نیست بسوزگر هزارم پوست داری مولا علی جانم مولا علی جان بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا نقطب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أسد الله غالب يا مرتضى يا علي لا فتى إلا علي لا سيف إلا ذوالفقار إلا علي لا سيف إلا ذوالفقار اذكروا على محمد كل ليل ونهار أفعال وخير علي ظاهر وباطن يا أبا الحسن يا أبا الحسين جور پیغمبر معشوق زهرا یا شاه مردان یا شیر یزدان یا حکم و فرمان یا نور جانان ای جان جانان ای جان جانان ای تو درمان ای تو درمان لا فتا الا علی لا سیف الا ذوالفقار لا فتا الا علی لا سیف الا ذوالفقار اذكروا على محمد
كل ليل ونهار. Inshallah, page number 45 on the Farsi Salawat book.
ای عزیز دل زینب ای امان از دل زینب ای عزیز دل زینب ای امان از دل زینب شور غم زینب شور غم زینب قصه هر درد و ستم زینب ای عزیز دل زینب ای امان از دل زینب نام تو تنزیز کرم زینب خواهر شقای حرم زینب نام تو نقش هر علم زینب ای عزیز دل زینب ای امان از دل زینب ای عزیز دل زینب ای امان از دل زینب ای که تو نام آشنا داری داغ هجران از کربلا داری ای عزیز دل زینب ای امان از دل زینب ای عزیز دل زینب ای امان از دل زینب در سینه فریاد بی صدا داری سلامت را از کجا داری دورلای صبر از خدا داری ای عزیز دل زینب ای امان از دل زینب ای عزیز دل زینب ای امان از دل زینب در دلت داری آتش غم ها ای لبت خاموش سینه‌ات غوغا ای عزیز دل زینب ای امان از دل زینب ای عزیز دل زینب ای امان از دل زینب روزه دشت و نوحه صحرا ای وفادار حضرت ساقا ای عزیز دل زینب ای امان از دل زینب ای عزیز دل زینب ای امان از دل زینب.
Inshallah, page number 17 on the Farsi Salawat book.
Allah madad, Allah madad, Allah madad, Allah madad, Ya Rasul Allah nazar, Ya Rasul Allah nazar, Ya Rasul Allah nazar, Ya Rasul Allah nazar. Allah madad, Allah madad, Allah madad, Allah madad, Ya Rasul Allah nazar. یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر ای یار من ای یار من ای یار بی زنهار من ای هجر تو دل سوز من ای لطف تو غم خار من ای لطف تو غم خار من الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر خوش می روی در جان من چون می کنی درمان من ای دین من ای ایمان من ای مهر گوهر بار من ای مهر گوهر بار من الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر ای جان من ای جان من سلطان من سلطان من دریای بی پایان من بالاتر از پندار من بالاتر از پندار من الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر شبیر من را مشعله عاشقان را سلسله ای منزل هر غافله ای غافله سالار من ای غافله سالار من الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله
Inshallah, page number 84 on the Farsi Salawat book.
صل على سيد الأصفياء صل على حجة الأولياء صل على سيد الأصفياء صل على حجة الأولياء صل على سيد الأصفياء صل على حجة الأولياء ای یار 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 شاه نقشبندی یار دل ما بجست و ما به هیچ کس ندم ای یار یار شاه نقشبندی یار دل ما بجست و ما به هیچ کس ندم صل علی سید الاصفیاء صل علی حجة الاولیاء صل علی سید الاصفیاء صل علی حجة الاولیاء صل علی محمد نور حق خوش آمد شاه نقشبندی آمد جان جانان آمد صل علی محمد نور حق خوش آمد شاه نقشبندی آمد جان جانان آمد صل علی سید الاصفیاء صل علی حجة الاولیاء صل علی سید الاصفیاء صل علی حجة الاولیاء اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى نقشبند محمد شاه نقشبند محمد اویسی البخاری اویسی البخاری اویسی البخاری یا عزیز و یا رضا یا عزیز و یا رضا به حق की न कीता यार ने किया वास्ते की न कीता यार ने किया वास्ते रब मैं पिला सजाइया ने सरकार वास्ते रब मैं पिला सजाइया ने दिल याद लई बढ़ाया तारीफ लई जुबान दिल याद लई बढ़ाया तारीफ लई जुबान अखियां सोने दे दीदार वास्ते की न कीता यार ने एक यार वास्ते रब महफिलां सजाइयां सरकार वास्ते सदका नबी दी आल दा बख्शे खुदा शिफा सदका नबी दी आल दा बख्शे खुदा शिफा मंगो दुआवां मेरे जय बीमार वास्ते मंगो दुआवां मेरे जय बीमार वास्ते की न कीता यार ने एक यार वास्ते रब महफिलां सजाइयां ने सरकार वास्ते रहमत उधी ने ले लिया अपनी पनाह विच रहमत उधी ने ले लिया अपनी पनाह विच पाए जदों मैं सोने दे दो चार वास्ते पाए जदों मैं सोने दे दो चार वास्ते रब महफिलां सजाइयां सरकार वास्ते की न कीता यार ने एक यार वास्ते की न कीता यार ने एक यार वास्ते रब महफिलां सजाइयां सरकार वास्ते पिला सजाइयां सरकार वास्ते गुजरे नियाज़ी जिंदगी इश्क नबी दे विच गुजरे नियाज़ी जिंदगी इश्क नबी दे विच नातां में पढ़दा रहां रौने मिंठा वास्ते नातां में पढ़दा रहां सोने सरकार वास्ते रब महफिलां सजाइयां सरकार वास्ते रब महफिलां सजाइयां सरकार वास्ते की न कीता यार ने एक यार वास्ते की न कीता यार ने एक यार वास्ते रब महफिलां सजाइयां सरकार वास्ते रब महफिलां सजाइयां सरकार वास्ते।
Inshallah, this one's called Rahmat-e-Do Jahan by Zain Zohaib. Rahmat-e-Do Jahan hai wo, Rahmat-e-Do Jahan hai wo, Rahmat-e-Do Jahan hai wo, Rahmat-e-Do Jahan hai wo, jinka sani kisi ne bhi paya nahi, jinka sani किसी ने भी पाया नहीं, जिनका साया भी रब ने बनाया नहीं। रहमत-ए-दो जहां है वो, रहमत-ए-दो जहां है वो, रहमत-ए-दो जहां है वो, रहमत-ए-दो जहां है वो। रात वो फरिश्तों ने रब से कहा, रात वो मेराज की, यूं फरिश्तों ने रब से कहा,
बरसात थी, रात थी मुलाकात की, तेरी रहमत की बरसात थी, जो अज़ल से तेरे संग है, जो अज़ल से तेरे संग है, साथ तेरे वही ज़ात थी, तेरी रहमत की बरसात थी, जो अज़ल से तेरे संग है, जो अज़ल से तेरे संग है, साथ तेरे वही ज़ात थी, तेरी रहमत की बरसात थी, तू ना उनसे अलग वो न तुझसे जुदा, तू ना उनसे अलग वो न तुझसे जुदा, तेरा सानी नहीं उनका साया नहीं, ना खुदा ना जुदा है वो, रहमत दो जहां है वो, ना खुदा ना जुदा है वो, रहमत दो जहां है वो, जिनका सानी किसी ने भी पाया नहीं, जिनका सानी किसी ने भी पाया नहीं, जिनका साया भी रब ने बनाया नहीं, रहमत दो जहां है वो, रहमत दो जहां है वो, रहमत दो जहां है वो, रहमत दो जहां है वो।
इंशाल्लाह।
नबी का जिक्र ही खुदा का जिक्र है, नबी का जिक्र ही खुदा का जिक्र है, नबी की बात खुदा की बात है, यदुल्ला कह दिया तो साबित हो गया, यदुल्ला कह दिया तो साबित हो गया, नबी का हाथ ही खुदा का हाथ है, नबी का जिक्र ही सल्ले अला नबीना, सल्ले अला मुहम्मद, सल्ले अला शफीना, सल्ले अला मुहम्मद, हम पे ऐसी अता है नबी की, भूल जाएंगे कैसे, हमको खतरे डराएंगे कैसे, पास आएंगे कैसे, ये आंखें नम नहीं कोई भी गम नहीं, ये आंखें नम नहीं कोई भी गम नहीं, करम हुजूर का हमारे साथ है, नबी का जिक्र ही सल्ले अला नबीना, सल्ले अला मुहम्मद, सल्ले अला शफीना, सल्ले अला मुहम्मद, उनके सदके ही महके हुए हैं दो जहां के नजारे, उनके फैज़ करम से रोशन कहकशां और सितारे, ये सारी रोशनी, ये सारी दिलकशी, ये सारी रोशनी, ये सारी दिलकशी, मेरे नबी के हुस्न की ज़कात है, नबी का जिक्र ही सल्ले अला नबीना, सल्ले अला मुहम्मदिन, सल्ले अला शफीना, सल्ले अला मुहम्मदिन, बेअमल हो मगर मेरे आका नजर रहमत करेंगे, मेरे जैसे गुनाहगार की भी वो शफात करेंगे, बड़े अजीम हैं, बड़े करीम हैं, बड़े अजीम हैं, बड़े करीम हैं, वो जिनके हाथ में मेरी निजात है। नबी का जिक्र ही सल्ले अला नबीना सल्ले अला मुहम्मद सल्ले अला शफीना सल्ले अला मुहम्मद। वो जो कह देंगे हो के रहेगा, यही कहता है कुरान। उनका फारूक जिंदा है फरमा, ये हमारा है ईमान। अगर वो दिन कहें तो रातें दिन बने, अगर वो दिन कहें तो रातें दिन बने। कहें वो दिन को रात तो वो रात है। नबी का जिक्र खुदा का ज़मीना सल्ले अला मुहम्मद सल्ले अला शफीना सल्ले अला मुहम्मद सल्ले अला नबीना सल्ले अला मुहम्मद सल्ले अला शफीना सल्ले अला मुहम्मद। वो कमाल हुस्न हुजूर है कि गुमान नक्श जहाँ नहीं। यही फूल खार से दूर है, यही शम्मा है कि दुआ नहीं। वो कमाल हुस्न हुजूर है कि गुमान नक्श जहाँ नहीं। यही फूल खार से दूर है, यही शम्मा है कि दुआ नहीं। माँ खुदा खुदा का यही है दर, नहीं इसमें कोई मुफरमा कर। माँ खुदा खुदा का यही है दर, नहीं इसमें कोई मुफरमा कर। जो वहाँ से हो यही आके हो, जो यहाँ नहीं वो वहाँ नहीं। जो यहाँ से हो यही आके हो, जो यहाँ नहीं वो वहाँ नहीं। वो कमाल हुस्न हुजूर है कि गुमान नक्श जहाँ नहीं। यही फूल खार से दूर है, यही शम्मा है कि दुआ नहीं। मैं निसार उनके कलम पर मिली यूं तो किसको जुबान नहीं। मैं निसार उनके कलम पर मिली यूं तो किसको जुबान नहीं। वो सुखन है जिसमें सुखन ना हो, वो बयां है जिसका बयां नहीं। वो सुखन है जिसमें सुखन ना हो, वो बयां है जिसका बयां नहीं। वो कमाल हुस्न हुजूर है कि गुमान नक्श जहाँ नहीं। यही फूल खार से दूर है, यही शम्मा है कि दुआ नहीं। तेरे आगे यूं है दबे लचे फसहा रब के बड़े बड़े। तेरे आगे यूं है दबे लचे फसहा रब के बड़े बड़े। कोई जाने मुँह में जुबान नहीं, नहीं बल्कि जिस्म में जान नहीं। कोई जाने मुँह में जुबान नहीं, नहीं बल्कि जिस्म में जान नहीं। वो कमाल हुस्न हुजूर है कि गुमान नक्श जहाँ नहीं। यही फूल खार से दूर है, यही शम्मा है कि दुआ नहीं। वही लामका के मकी हुए, सारे अर्श ताख्त नशी हुए। वही लामका के मकी हुए, सारे अर्श ताख्त नशी हुए। मलकूत मुल्क में कोई शे नहीं, वो जो तुझ पे आया नहीं। मलकूत मुल्क में कोई शे नहीं, वो जो तुझ पे आया नहीं। वो कमाल हुस्न हुजूर है कि गुमान नक्श जहाँ नहीं। यही फूल खार से दूर है, यही शम्मा है कि दुआ नहीं। करूँ तेरे नाम पे जा फिदा, न बस एक जा दो जहाँ फिदा। करूँ तेरे नाम पे जा फिदा, न बस एक जा दो जहाँ फिदा। दो जहाँ से भी नहीं जी भरा, करोड़ों जहां नहीं, दो जहां से भी नहीं जी भरा, करूं क्या करोड़ों जहां नहीं। वो कमाल हुस्न हुजूर है कि गुमान नक्श जहां नहीं, यही फूल खार से दूर है, यही शम्मा है कि दुआ नहीं। करूं मादा है दुअल रजा पड़े इस बला में मेरी बला, करूं मदह है दुअल रजा पड़े इस बला में मेरी बला। मैं गदा हूँ अपने करीम का, मेरा दीन पारायना नहीं, मैं गदा हूँ अपने करीम का, मेरा दीन पारायना नहीं। वो कमाल हुस्न हुजूर है कि गुमान नक्श जहां नहीं, यही फूल खार से दूर है, यही शम्मा है कि दुआ नहीं।
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ومولانا محمد المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم بمددكم ونزلكم سيدي يا رسول الكريم حبيب العظيم. مدد يا سيدي يا سلطان العليا الشيخ عبد الفايز الداغستاني، سلطان الشيخ محمد ناظم هذا الحكاني، مولانا الشيخ هشام كباني، الشيخ عدنان كباني، الشيخ محمد عاد عبد الخالق الخوستواني، صاحب زمان سيدنا محمد المهدي عليه السلام، روح الله سيدنا عيسى عليه السلام، سيف الله سيدنا عليه السلام، ثم سيدنا بكر الصديق، سيدنا عمر، سيدنا عثمان، إمام الحسن عليه السلام، إمام الحسين عليه السلام، وسيداتنا فاطمة عليه السلام، وسائر وساداتنا والصديقين. الفاتحة. يا رسول الكريم، أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم. Always a reminder for myself. أنا عبدك العاجز الضعيف مسكين وظالم وجهل. And but for the grace of Allah that we're still in existence. Alhamdulillah, in the holy month of Rajab and Subhanallah man huwa khaliq al-Noor, that we ask Allah dress us from Divinely lights and Divinely blessings, and that we see such calamity and to take an advice from what we see in life, that the signs of Allah are everywhere. So at every angle and at so many different dimensions Allah is sending the isharats and guidance and warnings and signs, and one that people can notice with their physical eyes, and that we briefly talked, and as a reminder in our lives that the structures that come down like paper, and this is a fault in how people build, that when a people based on corruption and lacking of sincerity within their actions, and this is the entire dunya, it's not a sign of only one race of people, but what we see in life when we look and the signs of East versus West, and the realities of Prophet describing the sun would rise from the west, and the sun has a physical sun and the spiritual sun, which are Ishraqiyun, and the Shams al-Arifin, Shams al-Islam, Shams al-Marifa, and all the realities that would rise from the west. And the opening, as the sun rises, there's a horizon, that as this horizon is opening means its realities begin to show. And Maghrib, in which the sun is setting, means the character of Islam is setting. So these are important. When we look at these events and we see that the character of Islam and its realities are not there, that the people of sincerity, the people of honesty and integrity that build structures by paying people to cheat, to not care about engineering reports, not care about supplies, but because the West and East and the shifting of the polarity is that the East is intoxicated with money and the pursuit of money, and as a result at the sacrifice of its own people they build structures that come down like paper. And no matter what type of earthquake, things are going to come down. But the astounding opinion of even outside engineers that review these and look at the footage, they don't understand how faces of buildings peel off like paper, and that entire structures the base is so weak that it just collapsed like it's a demolition or a pre-charged destruction of a building. And then you look to the Western understanding in which the Western philosophy like a sprouting, because as soon as you say, many people say, what are you talking about the West and all the crazy things that people in the West do. But when the sun rises it's slow. It's not that it's risen and this is now the world of Islam, but the rising and the character in which Prophet wanted for his nation is now visible in the West. Not the violence, not the craziness, but these characteristics in which you're going to build something that houses people. You have to have an integrity, you have to have a discipline in which you build something knowing that people's lives will be living there, and that you engineer and structure and build everything, and that you have a government that makes codes and you have people that abide by the codes, and you have a system in which corruption is frowned upon. So imagine like in a Western country and those living in the West, that you go to an engineering department or city planning department and say, here's some money and don't look at these plans, and we're going to build this crooked, we're going to take these elements out, and we're going to build structures that are going to collapse. No, they don't have that at all. If you even hint on trying to bribe a city official, you'll be in jail and your project will be shut down. This is the character of Islam. So people have to be able to find, when we're talking about the sun is rising, within you will find the pearls of that character. Not all of it, because the sun is still rising. As it rises it's cleaning and rejuvenating the hearts of this region, in which they take their laws serious. They take the abiding of its laws serious. They take the concerns of their people in this issue and this matter to be serious. And the sadness to look into the Eastern world and Muslim world, and I'm sure many other nations and Eastern countries in India and Russia, wherever they are in the East, and all the religions that they follow, all of them bribe everybody and they build things that tumble like crackers, like paper. You see, they build a building and immediately starts to twist to the side and fall down, and that's the sadness, and that's a reality and a deep reality in which people focus on their form and they focus on, it's only salah, everybody's salah, everybody like this, everybody like that, and they're busy making people's forms looking right. Just like a building that looks beautiful from the outside, You look and those buildings were all modern buildings before this zalzala, you will look and say, these are beautiful buildings they're building. And that's the same experience in life, that if a religion, a people, a tariqah, a path only builds people that are from the outside beautiful, that they look, wow, look like strong believers, but inside is not according to code, inside is not according to khushya and softness in the heart. Means inside is not according to the way that Allah wants. Not the dogma and the anger of sharia, but the reality of sharia, in which what you practice and what you teach and what you inspire within students should build a reverence, a love for Allah, a fear of Allah, in which builds a softness and love within your heart. You know, the fear that awliya have of Allah is to disappoint Allah and the disappointing of Sayyidina Muhammad. And as a result of this khuluq and this character, they try their best to not disappoint and to do the best that they can so that Allah and His beloved Sayyidina Muhammad to be happy. Not by tongue, by action. Because you know these are areas you go and everyone says, mashaAllah, everybody says everything, but they have weird characteristics. You know, always doing some sort of weird hanky-panky. People have travelled in these areas, they're doing all sorts of weird things but saying mashaAllah Allah, and everything is like a culture. It's just the way in which you operate. But in your heart you have to have a khushya that you don't cheat, you don't steal, you know, you don't try to rip people off, you don't act mean, you don't act harsh. All of the zahir and exterior is like a building, and if Allah shake it and test it, it just collapsed like paper. And you know, because I don't know if it's coming clear to people, this analogy that's trying to come through is because you look at the building, you say, how the heck did this thing collapse? It wasn't built solid. And people are the same way, that something that looks solid to you, look like is a Muslim to you, look like is a representative of Islam to you, a little bit of shaking and they don't seem to be acting according to Islam. They don't have the kindness of Sayyidina Muhammad, they don't have honour and integrity of Sayyidina Muhammad. They don't look at things that they're not supposed to look at, they don't act with acting in a character that they're not supposed to be acting like. All of a sudden they become angry, belligerent, bad words, bad cursing. And Allah is giving us for an example that it's not only that you look like a beautiful building all put together, but each of your floors, everything within you has to be put together. For if Allah shakes you, what comes out? If you tumbled and crumbled and vanished as if you weren't even there, then what was the purpose? And that's why Allah describes, we come to their actions and we throw them, because it become like a false building. You know, bribed its way through everything. It was a cultural practice, everything inshaAllah, mashaAllah, everything and spoken right and according to what's supposed to be right. But inside no khushya, inside no tarbiyah, inside the heart no good character and reverence and humility. All the things that are developed by tafakkur and contemplation. If a people only focus and think that their whole life is just their salah and it's only the exterior salah in which everybody show up, everybody pray, everybody come, everybody go. You didn't do any of the hard work. The hard work is the good character. The hard work is to keep getting tested by a shaykh, getting squeezed by the shaykh, getting squeezed by the tariqah, interacting by people, and that Allah see that your khuluq and your character is according to the way of Sayyidina Muhammad. Honour, have nobility. Don't come for false pretense, don't come thinking everybody else doesn't know what you're coming for. You're coming for Allah, that's it. You come and develop your character and softness and the best of character, in which people test you and you come out sweet. People agitate you, you come out sweet and polite. Everything about the character means that Allah shake you and you're like a mountain, it doesn't change. Not like a paper tiger, shake and everything falls, and that everyone around you is like a paper tiger. That all sort of bizarre characteristics. What kind of teaching is that? What kind of buildings are you building? What kind of structures are you putting up? And that's what's important. No matter Dajjal did, Allah did, whoever does what they do, there's a sign in what's left behind. And all the world will face that now. Allah's going to test everyone to see what they're made of. That's the true test in life, and those whom their life was in testing, continuous turmoil, continuous difficulty. Not the outside people say, oh it was like all this craziness so now you should be running away. No, life was supposed to be testing. You were supposed to go through all these difficulties in life, all the craziness in life, all of the calamities in life, and it built your character because you're like a solid mountain, not like a paper building. The Dajjal sent this thing and everything collapsed. Even I'm sure the people whom are behind this look at it and say, wow, we didn't understand that it was going to collapse like that, because they didn't understand the inner structure of people corrupt. A country in which is un-Islamic to take a bribe, but this is the effect of when you pay people to circumvent the laws and the rules that safeguard humanity and the souls that live within these buildings, and the corruption then brought everything down and you see all that's left. But for those whom are still standing, then Allah gives to us an example, take the character and the khuluq of Sayyidina Muhammad. Be kind to your brothers, especially your brothers in faith that have the best of manners. Don't talk bad about somebody, don't spread gossips and rumours and conspiracies, and teach your jama'ah and teach the people whom are around you to have good character. For if Allah should shake you, don't be like a paper building in which you cease to exist. Means one shake, and this is such an important understanding, is that the buildings no longer exist, and Allah is giving to us an isharat that, if I should shake you, will you cease to exist? All that you've built up and all the image that you think you have of yourself, if I shake you and you cease to exist, then what was it all for? You vanished, you ran, you disappeared, you took your identity off and went and hid into the streets. Your life was a waste of time. So then there's many examples to take from life when we see it, that everyone should look and say, Ya Rabbi, don't make my life and my faith like these buildings. We're all going to face a shaking, but let me to be firm and stand firm, that when shaken by people and by issues and by interactions, that people go away thinking of the character of Prophet, kind, respectful, loving, trying to help, being compassionate, being humble and humbling oneself, not using big titles and making everyone around you to use big titles, and then they feel that they're enabled by these titles and they feel that they're a part of something super huge and supernatural. But the way of humility, the ones whom are most powerful are the ones whom take a path towards humility in which to want to serve people. So it means these are all the characteristics that Allah gave to Sayyidina Muhammad, and then these are to be departed and imparted upon those whom follow the way, and that they take an example from everything. From an earthquake where hundreds of thousands are going to be in difficulty or passed away, that there's an example for ourselves right now to look at it, Ya Rabbi, don't let me to crumble like a paper that just doesn't exist anymore. Everyone will be crushed, it's the character that counts in the end. We pray that Allah give us good character, and that when we're tested with our interactions with people, and our people come across many people because we're asking them to post. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're probably not doing any khidmat. Means that take our videos and post them into every group and every forum and every page you can, and you'll understand by tomorrow exactly what I'm talking about. Why these people have bad manners? Why do they say such horrible things? Why do they have such sort of distorted understandings? And then it's an example, oh they're like those buildings that are going to come down, because if your character is like that, you're no better than a paper building that been put up by false engineers. But what we want is like an evergreen tree that's solid, and that it's green means that it's always serving the purpose, it's green, it's always alive. But the evergreen, what makes it to be strong and to weather difficulties, kutubun awtadan wa jibalan awtadan, means like the concept of the mountain that are awtad, which is a category of awliya but is a word for the peg, is a peg. The mountains are pegs, and the evergreen trees are like pegs on this earth. Why? Because the root go very deep, that in their training their roots and their connection and their spiritual connection is extremely deep. And it's not a flower on a rock that came to an event, jumped in with the group, start following, start thinking they're this and that, and they only have the outer, but they've been trained with tafakkur, trained with muraqabah, trained with all of these practices. They put their practice and their faith in action. They go out and give charity, actively do something, be of service, do a khidmat, and as a result your roots go very deep. And the deeper the root means their souls are connecting with very powerful souls. As their soul is connecting, this is the concept and the analogy of being rooted. When your soul is connected, your form is like a rock, nothing gonna move it, because that which holds you is your soul connection to these world of light and to these realities. But when your soul has no connection, you're like a flower on a rock. The wind come and blow it, and Allah tells us, don't be like that, where the first rain comes and you washed away. We pray that Allah give us an understanding from everything that we see, give a relief to those people whom are under immense suffering, suffering from an immense disaster and suffering from people whom had no sincerity, and as a result of taking and cutting edges and cutting fees, they built things like paper that collapsed upon everyone's heads. And is an ajr and an example for ourselves that don't make your faith like that where it's just fake, and that you don't have good character, you don't have good practices, and that you're not rooted with your soul in a soul connection in which your Islam goes deep into your reality, and that it's connected to awliyaullah, it's connected to the love and the reality of Sayyidina Muhammad, and as a result has istiqam and firmness, and that it holds your form in place because the roots of you go down deep. And that which not rooted, it blows in the wind like dust in the wind. They have an example, you become like dust in the wind, just it's gone. And then when you look back it like it never even existed. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifoon wa salaamun al mursaleen alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen bi hurmati Muhammad al Mustafa wa basiri Surat al Fatiha. Shabad ya Rasul Kareem. Ameen. Inshallah, from what we talked about in the last week and a half, were very deep subjects. Either people don't want to remind themselves of these subjects and would rather talk about stones and rocks and ridiculous things, or focus on what's been talked about, and that these are extremely dangerous times that opening, and people have to reflect on those, understand these analogies, understand that the importance of energy, the use of energy, how it's being used to destroy and how it can be used to save and for salvation, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam rahmatullah.
May Allah always bless you and give strength to make us learn all what you want us to learn. Sayyidi, we recently saw in the news that this earthquake has made the land of Turkey move to Maghrib. What is the reality of this feature?
Move to Maghrib? It went all the way to Morocco? I don't know. Don't know about that, what scientists are talking about, but we already mentioned what Maghrib is. That anyone turn on television and what we described, Eastern countries, they were the bedrock of religion and faith. They were the area in which taught humanity about the Divine. So now East represents what to people? $400 billion for a ridiculous ball. Do you think any of them are going to send money now for Turkey? No, because the ball was more important than people's lives. But they're going to send $1 million check? They spend $400 billion for a ball. They are the custodians of Islam? No, means the closet closed on their heads. They spend close to $500 million just on Christmas, that country. Ridiculous people. So you take an ajr from what you see, there's no more Islam there. The world of Islam closed in that region. So then that is now opening and has opened on this side, on the western side, the western world. So through whatever testing Allah going to begin to inflict upon the West, they're going to come to Islam, nothing will be left in the West but Islam. So it means that we see it. If anyone can't see it, turn on the TV. The Eastern countries are now promoting materialism, pursuit of money, gold, extravagance, just nothing to do with heavens, nothing to do with spirituality, nothing to do with realities. Means they lost their title and that the earth shifted its polarity. So Allah's tajalli of guidance now is on the West, and that's why you're seeing now this region carrying these laws. These regions paying for people, taking care of women and children, taking care of the weak and the poor, abiding by codes and rules and laws. So this is a huge sign of what's happening for people who have eyes to see. People in the East, I'm sure they don't think that, they think their area is fantastic. So what if we spend $400 billion on a ball? We'll go for Jummah. It's not faith. So that's the signs, everyone who can see the signs, but they're seeing it more like it's entertainment and this was amazing, oh my gosh you don't know what it was. I said, no, these were big signs that they do like this and this is not Islam. So it's a sign that they left it, they don't have any understanding nor appreciation for it. And then now that shift will come into other regions, and those whom Allah won't, they'll be guided, and that they don't talk like this, they just go for Jummah and go home. So that's the reason why Allah has transplanted from their generations and their lineage, that they come as rooted trees with significant lineages to the heart of Prophet, and they're placed in the West like Moses being raised in Pharaoh's territories. So this is a big sign for people whom have hearts to understand, and through their spiritual eyes they see. So these are all of what's happening now on dunya, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Walaykum salam rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, your presence and your way of teaching is unlike any other. You are beaming with light. Thank you so much, Sayyidi. I grew up in a Christian household, but it was always missing something. Then my own journey for truth in this world, I was led here. Now I am fulfilled. Every time I listen to your teachings, I know I'm on the right path. May your blessings never stop flowing to you and your loved ones. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Allah bless you, alhamdulillah. This is the love and the ishq of Sayyidina Muhammad and the holy companions, Ahlul Bayt and awliyaullah fi samai wa fil ard, that Allah's love emanating from this region on these tongues, the English tongue and the western regions, to send out a guidance for whom Allah is going to guide. We described last night that if people understand who will be following Sayyidina Mahdi the majority of who. So people in other faiths, they're expecting an awakening, they're expecting a rising, a light and a guidance. And again in the Muslim world they don't know what you're talking about. They're expecting like it's going to be a fight somewhere, and that a physical person coming to do physical fighting and all sorts of things, and if you talk spiritual though, no, this is not like this is not like that. So it means that, and we deal with them for 30 years people, we see who comes to the door of the centers, we see who comes online and what they say and the character and the demeanour. So it means we have really no understanding whom Allah is guiding in the last days. But we know that from the English language and Western region, isharats and lights will be coming out, and Allah has placed them for their safety in the West. For had they been, and if they move into the East, they'll be shut down in a second, so that they can too also be put into the maghrib and the setting of the sun. So when the sun sets means what? It casts people into darkness. When you were a region and you held the honour of the rising of the sun, means that you were the source of guidance in the East. When you set, you're not the source of guidance anymore, means it's just the source of darkness. So then in all their countries corrupt, all their people corrupt, all their people killing each other for water and power. In other countries that have the immense love, what they're doing? Killing each other for control of water and power, giving some people water, giving other people no water. So this is not the world of Islam, this is not even anything to do with Islam. So it means then you see them that as maghrib, that the sun has set on them and they're now in a zulm and a darkness. Darkness in Arabic is called zulm, oppression. So if you're not in the light then you're under oppression. So this is a immense reality, and those whom in the West Allah dress and bless them, and their responsibility is to propagate knowledges, so that those whom are in the East and want to learn and being stopped from learning from other sources and people of zulumat and putting oppression upon them, then they have the ability until the internet goes down. So many people in the East are reading these teachings this way, this understanding, and they're saying, we can't find this anywhere, nor can we talk about it, we'll probably be beaten or stoned in our countries. So because of a zulumat and oppression is being put upon them. Knowledge is power, knowledge is light, love is a freedom. So when you propagate these realities, they're like birds that have been imprisoned. Their souls feel like they're flying, that they're enlightened, they have energies. From just understanding a little bit, then awliya will begin to come and give tarbiyah in their dreams and in their sleep. So it means guidance is flowing. So inshaAllah Allah give more and more understanding for people and the reality and the times that we live in. If people understand the time they live in and they understand the holy hadith, then they should understand what the Ishraqiyun are and where they are, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
What are the manners and ways to tap into the angelic energy from the Shaykh's energy, power connection and golden chain during meditation? Forgive our bad adab.
You have to buy 3 of the meditation books, that's the whole meditation book. And then we have the book on energy. So you buy first the meditation book, the Timeless Reality, because it's encyclopedia. This is a shaykh with a course. So our course study and any of the students should have the books. If they consider themselves a student, they should have the books, otherwise how are you accompanying a teacher and he has a specific curriculum? If anyone looks at our YouTube, you should know I have a very specific curriculum. It's these subjects and these books are these subjects. So to appear inside the class and all of a sudden ask, can you please explain energy to me? You have to go and get the books, start studying the programs, start watching the videos and binge watch them, watch 2-3 videos a day and bring yourself up to speed on energy, meditation, tafakkur, contemplation. You get the meditation book, you get the angelic energy book, the realities of Hajj book, reality of the heart book, a reality of inside the heart book which is Surah Yasin. All of that is the curriculum. And the new book coming out on the 6 powers of the heart and how to activate 6 powers of the heart. But that won't make sense to you if you don't know how to make tafakkur. So at that time you're going to say, Shaykh, how am I going to activate my tawassul and my conveyance? Well, you're not until you've mastered the meditation and the tafakkur, in which you burned away yourself and you allowed the light of guidance to begin to enter into the soul and into the heart. When you substitute yourself away and allow their satellite and reflection to begin to beam the Muhammadan light within the wujood and the personality, that's what's needed to make a change in somebody. So there's no energy that somebody has, there's no angels that they can communicate with because it's not your frequency. So when you have to give your frequency up for the Muhammadan frequency, that's through the meditation in which you negate yourself and then they visualize the shaykh who is like a satellite dish reflecting the Muhammadan light. So they have a box, when they want to watch Apple TV they have to get the Apple box. Why? Because it has all of the encrypted codes for Apple TV for you. They don't just offer it all over the internet. So it means that the shaykh is like the Apple box for you, that if you want the Muhammadan connection then you get the shaykh. When you get the shaykh and subscribe, means you've been the practices, you connect your heart, what happens? You're now coming through these available channels. It's like you have a subscription with him, and through your subscription you can log on to that Muhammadan channel. So all of what we have of technology, people should be able to quickly understand these analogies. Why they don't is beyond me. That you have to go and subscribe to get to a television show. So you don't think you have to have a subscription to get to the heart of Prophet, and not a paid subscription, but means you have to have a shape, you have to have a connection, you have to have a loyalty, you have to learn on how to log into his heart, because he's beaming a Muhammadan channel for you. So how do you log on to his heart and how do you connect into his heart? And as a result that conveyance begins to come, the channel begins to flow, and all the ulum and the knowledges for the channel are flowing. And it's encrypted. Why? Otherwise shaitan would take the channel too and try to learn. But they're not, they're highly encrypted. So as we get closer into these technologies we're starting to understand the keys, and that you have to have cold storage, and anything on a net, on a network, anyone can hack it. So yeah, people think, oh well, I'll get the book and I'll learn everything. No, the shaykh is the cold storage, you have to meditate. The book will give you some understandings but it will not come until it's unlocked within the heart of the student. Even the Qur'an we described before, and they released the video this week of that reality. The people think that, I'll just get the Qur'an and learn everything. What are you talking about? The Qur'an is more powerful than your phone. Your phone looks at your eye and says, hey, this is not you, we're not opening, right? You give your phone to your friend and say, open my phone, and say, you can't, your eye has to be identified. You don't think the Qur'an is far beyond even their understanding? That the Qur'an looks at your face and says, for you, you get page 1 barely understanding. You think it's just giving its secrets out? No, it reads your face and exactly who you are and what your level of ishq and love for Prophet, or you're just an intelligence officer trying to figure out Islam, or you're a language scholar just trying to understand Arabic. It reads you, and as a result it gives you the level of information that Allah wants you to understand. It's a locked and encrypted book because it's from heavens. This is as well as the heart of awliya and the ulum and the knowledges of awliya, that look like they're being displayed for the public but it's encrypted. Because you can have friends that, hey, read this 3 pages of this book or read this, it's so encrypted that they fall asleep within 2 or 3 pages because they can't understand it, they don't even make any sense of it. It's locked to them and it's locked to their hearts. So it means that these knowledges they read you, they look in your face and your eyes, and they see the light of who you are and what Allah has destined for you. And as a result, based on that encryption, those knowledges are coming. So everything from technology shows us a very deep reality of these haqqaiqs. So we have to understand and continuously make the simulation and the understanding. That's why these technologies are there, for us to understand Allah's technologies, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum ya Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Please forgive my ignorance. What is the reality of shortness of breath when with an energy shift in the home or weather, even with doing the practices?
Shortness of breath is shortness of breath. That maybe the heart is contracting and the energy is too heavy and you can't catch your breath. Nothing that can be done, you try to breathe through it and just be patient. If the energy is coming heavy or some sort of energy is attacking, then you just have to breathe through it and keep with your madad and salawats on Sayyidina Muhammad inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, the talk of creating a digital twin for every person soul is heating up. Can you please explain this from a Muhammadan perspective?
The digital twin, I think the understanding is not that it's a digital twin, but our light reality has many different realities. That your wave reality, if one should achieve their wave and see their reality, the wave has infinite manifestations. So Sayyidina Abu Yazid al-Bistami Qaddasallahu Siru told one student that, I prayed Jummah in 24,000 locations last Friday, and only now scientists will understand that one whom would be in control, if possible, they think, if possible, that you have wave realities in many dimensions. Forget about just this earth, they can't understand the dimensions. And we said dimensions are like pages and sheets, that their energy is going into how many dimensions. So forget about that, that's complicated for people. But on this earth, if you're operating with light, as much as you think that you could visualize yourself, I see myself now Medina, I see myself now at this maqam, I see myself with the shaykh, I see myself here, I see myself all these places. Imagine that level of imagination someone has and Allah makes it to be real, in which their self will actually be in all these locations. Then what's difficult for Allah to make that light manifest in that dimension, in that location? Nothing. Right now some may experience it just through the ruhani, that they can sense themselves in many places. But if Allah open His permission, their light reality can manifest. As Sayyidina Abu Yazid al-Bistami was describing, he was praying. People were seeing a manifestation of himself in 12,000 locations, because he was trying to teach them light. And this is the… now scientists know the wave reality, because light has infinite amount of locations. And we said before, you get a box and put a very strong laser or light bulb on it and make a hole, the light will go out and darken the room, it'll go out that one hole because it's looking for a place to go out. You make 1,000 holes on the box, then 1,000 waves of light will come out from that box in a dark room. So it means the one whom Allah gives control of their wave reality then can manifest in as many places as Allah wants them to manifest. So then in the last days, if Allah opens that authority, then their manifestation is many places at the same time. And that's why the fear the shaitan has is that these people will have the power of 1,000 men, and that's putting it very small because it's much more than 1,000 men. Because each of their forms have an immense power, immense spiritual power, immense spiritual ability, and nothing can touch them because that's just a light being. Because you don't know where the reality of them is manifesting from. So as they plan, shaitan plans, Allah's plan is far more powerful. So one manifesting in 12,000, 4,000, 24,000 places is not touchable but is very powerful and is a very powerful force to be reckoned with, and nothing can touch them, nothing can harm them, nothing can do anything to them because it's just their light being. So these are the potentials that Allah has given, وَلَقَدْ كَرَمْنَا بَنِي Adam. If Sayyidina Abu Yazid al-Bistami was doing that for Jummah, but in last days that's not needed for Jummah. When Dajjal comes they don't need to be 24,000 places for doing a Jummah, but they need that to help people and to protect people and defend people. So that becomes immense. But this is all through tafakkur and contemplation, so that people understand who they are and where they get their power from, and that they negate themselves and they connect to the heart and to the reality of the Muhammadan connection, inshaAllah. Anybody has questions also? Email at helpme@nurmuhammad.com. Keep your communication line always with helpme@nurmuhammad.com. The website articles at nurmuhammad.com. Take the articles, post them, the articles from all the talks. They're not the same as, oh I heard this talk. No, the article is far more academic and deeper, because they quote the Qur'an, they quote the hadith. Because we just briefly talk, they go back and put the ayatul kareem and the holy hadith, and has all of its references and much more in depth. And those are then good to be kept and share those articles, so that people can read them, come to guidance, print them out and understand them, inshaAllah. The information is free for people, it just requires people to propagate it, send it, and to just click and share. Then we come to the understanding when we're sharing the character of people that the shaykh is talking about. Why are people so angry when you post something beautiful? Right? Anybody who's interacting with our TikTok knows. How come when the TikTok goes live for zikr, the Muslims are going crazy, and special school of Muslims that go crazy with zikr, and why are they on TikTok? And getting angry from zikr, and then the general audience is saying, hey this sounds so beatific, what is this? Is this like a praising? What is this? What are you guys doing? So it again gives us the understanding of the character of people, and in the last days whom Allah will guide to His holy remembrance and to the love and ishq of Sayyidina Muhammad. Now you saw that everyone is now linking to the Kaaba. Remember we described before 2 weeks ago that Nabi Musa, when he escaped from Pharaoh, he entered into Mecca. He didn't escape into Egypt, he escaped into Mecca. And Sayyidina Shuaib, they say, was the caretaker of the Kaaba, and their nations were making Hajj. They know what the Kaaba is, they were in their region in Yathrib waiting for Sayyidina Muhammad's arrival. Their reality was dark skinned black people. All these haqqaiqs are coming out. Why? They realized all of their biblical locations are actually in Saudi Arabia. We described that 2 weeks ago. Now everything started to open. So they understand that whole region is the religion of Allah. The deen, and the deen of Allah is Islam, and its region and its realities are all in Hijaz. So for the Jews to understand, Jewish people to understand, well it immediately brings the Christians, because the Christians are nothing but the Jewish people, right? So it brings all the religions to understand, no your origin, and all the Prophets of Allah were making tawaf. Now they're starting to talk about Sayyidina Ismail and that his importance and his religion. Means as we get close to the end, the falsehood is dying, and the reality of Islam is coming, and the reality of the messenger of Islam is coming, and people will remember and retrace their entire origin to that region, inshaAllah. Bi hurmati Muhammad al-Mustafa wa basiri Surat al-Fatiha. Alhamdulillah. Some even say they have, the Orthodox Jewish people, they put the Kaaba on their forehead. Uh-huh. Just you think, inshaAllah, biniyatak azma khawjugan. Then the Dajjal's going to come and say he wants the Kaaba. The armies would enter into that area, inshaAllah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله Astaghfirullah 25 times. أستغفر الله العظيم الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم أتوب إليه إنه هو التواب الرحيم من كل ذنب ومعصية ومن كل ما يخالف دين الإسلام ومن كل ما يخالف الشريعة ومن كل ما يخالف الطريقة ومن كل ما يخالف المعرفة ومن كل ما يخالف الحقيقة ومن كل ما يخالف العظيم يا أرحم الراحمين يا الله اللهم يا مسبب الأسباب يا مفتح الأبواب يا مقلب القلوب والأبصار يا دليل المتحيرين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حي يا قيوم يا ذو الجلال والإكرام وأفوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد. رابطة الشريف. فاتحة الشريف 3 times. Salawatul Sharif 10 times. Surah Inshirah Sharif 3 times. Surah Ikhlas Sharif 3 times. Surah Fatiha 3 times. Salawatul Sharif 10 times. إلى شرف النبي صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه الكرام ولأرواح مشايخنا في الطريقة النقشبندية العالية، خاصة إلى روح إمام الطريقة غوث الخليقة شاه بهاء الدين نقشبند محمد ويسي البخاري، وإلى مولانا السلطان الأولياء شاه عبد الله الفايز داغستاني، مولانا السلطان الأولياء سيد محمد ناظم الحقاني، مولانا الشيخ الشام القباني، شيخ عدنان القباني، شيخ محمد عادل، وياقوت الخواص مولانا الشيخ نور جان مير أحمدي، عبد الخالق الغزدواني، صاحب الزمان سيدنا إمام محمد المهدي عليه السلام، روح الله سيدنا عيسى عليه السلام، سيف الله سيدنا إمام علي عليه السلام، ثم سيدنا أبو بكر الصديق، سيدنا عمر، سيدنا عثمان، سيدنا إمام الحسن عليه السلام، سيدنا إمام الحسين عليه السلام، سيدتنا فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام، وسائر وساداتنا والصديقين. الفاتحة.
حسبي ربي جل الله، ما في قلبي غير الله، نور محمد صلى الله، لا إله إلا الله، إلا له إلا له إلا له، أنت الهادي أنت الهادي، ليس الهادي إلا هو. حسبي ربي جل الله، ما في قلبي غير الله، نور محمد صلى الله، لا إله إلا الله، إلا له إلا له إلا له، أنت الهادي أنت الهادي، ليس الهادي إلا هو. حسبي ربي جل الله، ما في قلبي غير الله، نور محمد صلى الله، لا إله إلا الله، إلا له إلا له إلا له، أنت الهادي أنت الهادي، ليس الهادي إلا هو. حسبي ربي جل الله، ما في قلبي غير الله، نور محمد صلى الله، لا إله إلا الله، إلا له إلا له إلا له، أنت الهادي أنت الهادي، ليس الهادي إلا هو. حسبي ربي جل الله، ما في قلبي غير الله، نور محمد صلى الله، لا إله إلا الله، إلا له إلا له إلا له، أنت الهادي أنت الهادي، ليس الهادي إلا هو. حسبي ربي جل الله، ما في قلبي غير الله، نور محمد صلى الله، لا إله إلا الله، إلا له إلا له إلا له، أنت الهادي أنت الهادي، ليس الهادي إلا هو. حسبي ربي جل الله، ما في قلبي غير الله، نور محمد صلى الله، لا إله إلا الله، إلا له إلا له إلا له، أنت الهادي أنت الهادي، ليس الهادي إلا هو. حسبي ربي جل الله، ما في قلبي غير الله، نور محمد صلى الله، لا إله إلا الله، إلا له إلا له إلا له، أنت الهادي أنت الهادي، ليس الهادي إلا هو. حسبي ربي جل الله، ما في قلبي غير الله، نور محمد صلى الله، لا إله إلا الله، إلا له إلا له إلا له، أنت الهادي أنت الهادي، ليس الهادي إلا هو. حسبي ربي جل الله، ما في قلبي غير الله، نور محمد صلى الله، لا إله إلا الله، إلا له إلا له إلا له، أنت الهادي أنت الهادي، ليس الهادي إلا هو. حسبي ربي جل الله، ما في قلبي غير الله، نور محمد صلى الله، لا إله إلا الله، إلا له الهادي أنت الحق ليس الهادي إلا هو حسبي ربي جل الله ما في قلبي غير الله نور محمد صلى الله لا إله إلا الله إلا له إلا له إلا له أنت الهادي أنت الحق ليس الهادي إلا هو حسبي ربي جل الله ما في قلبي غير الله نور محمد صلى الله لا إله إلا الله إلا له إلا له إلا له أنت الهادي أنت الحق ليس الهادي إلا هو لا إله إلا الله ولا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله ولا 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 إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله عليه صلوات الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله عليه صلوات الله لا إله إلا الله محمد حبيب الله عليه صلوات الله لا إله إلا الله محمد حبيب الله عليه صلوات الله لا إله إلا الله محمد نبي الله صلوات الله لا إله إلا الله محمد نبي الله عليه صلوات الله لا إله إلا الله محمد صفي الله عليه صلوات الله لا إله إلا الله محمد صفي الله عليه صلوات الله لا إله إلا الله محمد ناجي الله عليه صلوات الله لا إله إلا الله محمد ناجي الله عليه صلوات الله لا إله إلا الله محمد شفيع الله عليه صلوات الله لا إله إلا الله محمد شفيع الله عليه صلوات الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله عليه صلوات الله لا إله إلا الله محمد حبيب الله عليه صلوات الله لا إله إلا الله محمد نبي الله عليه صلوات الله لا إله إلا الله محمد ناجي الله عليه صلوات الله لا إله إلا الله محمد صفي الله عليه صلوات الله لا إله إلا الله محمد شفيع الله عليه صلوات الله والسلام
على بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب بلايا الله 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 الله
نعم المولى ونعم النصير لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم هو الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الله الله حق 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 الله حق الله الله حق الله الله حق الله الله حق الله حق الله 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 حق الله الله حق الله الله حق الله الله है अल्लाह है अल्लाह 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 है या कय्यूम 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 हस्बुल्लाह व निअमल वकील ला हौल वला कुव्वत इल्ला बिल्लाहिल अलिय्यिल अज़ीम या हो या दाइम या हो या दाइम अल्लाह या दाइम अल्लाह या दाइम या दाइम या दाइम या दाइम या अल्लाह या हालिम या हालिम या हालिम या अल्लाह या हाफिज या हाफिज या हाफिज या अल्लाह या मुजीब या मुजीब या मुजीब या अल्लाह या सत्तार या सत्तार सत्तार या अल्लाह या गफ्फार गफ्फार या अल्लाह या जब्बार जब्बार या अल्लाह या कहार कहार या अल्लाह या फत्ताह या फत्ताह या अल्लाह या फत्ताह या फत्ताह या अल्लाह या रज़ाक़ या रज़ाक़ या रज़ाक़ या अल्लाह या रज़ाक़ या रज़ाक़ या रज़ाक़ या अल्लाह या वदूद या वदूद या वदूद या अल्लाह या वदूद या वदूद या वदूद या अल्लाह या वदूद या वदूद या वदूद या अल्लाह या रहमान रहमान या अल्लाह या रहीम रहीम या रहीम या अल्लाह या हन्नान हन्नान या अल्लाह या मन्नान मन्नान या अल्लाह या दयान या दयान या अल्लाह या सुब्हान सुब्हान या अल्लाह या सुल्तान या अल्लाह या अमान या अमान या अल्लाह या अल्लाह या अल्लाह या अल्लाह या अल्लाह अंत अल्लाह या अल्लाह हुवल्लाह या अल्लाह हुवल्लाह या अल्लाह हस्बुल्लाह व निअमल वकील निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर ला हौल वला कुव्वत इल्ला बिल्लाहिल अलिय्यिल अज़ीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम 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 أحد يا صمد صل على محمد يا 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 أحد يا صمد صل على يا أحمد 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 يا أحد يا صمد صل على محمد يا أحد يا صمد صل على محمد يا أحد يا صمد صل على محمد. حسب الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير، لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. يا سيد يا صاحب يا صديق يا رسول يا الله، يا سيد يا صاحب يا صديق يا رسول يا الله، يا سيد يا صاحب يا صديق يا رسول يا الله، يا سيد يا صاحب يا صديق يا رسول يا الله، يا سيد يا صاحب يا صديق يا رسول يا الله، يا سيد يا صاحب يا صديق يا رسول يا الله، يا سيد يا صاحب يا صديق يا رسول يا الله، يا سيد يا صاحب يا صديق يا رسول يا الله. حسبنا الله ربنا الله، 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 حسبنا الله ربنا الله. سيدنا المهدي خليفة الله، سيدنا المهدي خليفة الله، سيدنا المهدي خليفة الله، أزهره الله أجابنا الله، أزهره الله أجابنا الله، أزهره الله أجابنا الله، أيده الله أجابنا الله، أيده الله أجابنا الله، أيده الله أجابنا الله، نسأله الله أجابنا الله، نسأله الله أجابنا الله، نسأله الله أجابنا الله. حسبنا الله ربنا الله، حسبنا الله ربنا الله، حسبنا الله ربنا الله. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير، لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. يا غالبا غير مغلوب، 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 يا شاهدا غير مغيب، يا شاهدا غير مغيب، يا شاهدا غير مغيب، يا قاربا غير بعيد، يا قاربا غير بعيد، يا قاربا غير بعيد، يا غالبا غير مغلوب، يا غالبا غير مغلوب، يا غالبا غير مغلوب.
حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير، لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. من أشرف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وصحبه الكرام والمشايخين في طريقة النقشبندية العالية، خاصة روح ممتلك غوث خليك شان نقشبند محمد وعيسى البخاري، سلطان أولياء الشيخ عبد الفايز الداغستاني، الشيخ محمد ناظم عادل الحكاني، مولانا الشيخ هشام كباني، الشيخ عدنان كباني، الشيخ محمد عادل، عبد الخالق الخوش دواني، صاحب زمان سيدنا محمد المهدي عليه السلام، روح الله سيدنا عيسى عليه السلام، سيف الله سيدنا عليه السلام، ثم سيدنا بكر الصديق، سيدنا عمر، سيدنا عثمان، إمام الحسن عليه السلام، إمام الحسين عليه السلام، سيداتنا فاطمة عليه السلام، في بركات عرس مبارك سيداتنا زينب عليه السلام، وسائر وساداتنا والصديقين. الفاتحة. Barakah Shafadia Rasul Kareem, inshallah blessed week, blessed month. Next week inshaAllah Laylatul Isra wal Miraj, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, blessed weekend. May Allah keep us all healthy and good until that weekend to receive its lights, its blessings, its immense dressings. And Allah bless you, forgive me, and we'll see everybody inshaAllah soon. Keep well bi hurmati Muhammad al-Mustafa wa basiri Surat al-Fatiha. Thank you all for coming, thank all the people who are online and waking up early to watch, make your comments. Allah bless you, dress you inshaAllah. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Shaykh Nurjan. Thank you for watching the video that you're watching. InshaAllah, if you're happy with the content and happy with these programs, please support the button below, the programs that we have for our orphanage repairs, our water well, Give the Gift of Life, our mobile food vans. We have now 5 vans: Vancouver, Chicago, Los Angeles, Pakistan. There's many programs that reach thousands of people and rescue foods and give those supplies to people in need. Your support is greatly appreciated. Also, be so kind as to leave loving comments and please share the stream. Every bit counts. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
A Timeless Reality with Shaykh Nurjan Mirahmadi guides the reader in meditation, connecting the heart to a guide and to daily spiritual practices to understand the effects of positive and negative energy and to progress the reader in their spiritual awakening and the soul's connection to the world of light. The Divine's Ancient Timeless Reality. Order on Amazon.com. As heavenly beings, we are on an eternal pursuit of angelic power. This book invites the seeker to attune to the guides of heavenly knowledge and discover the essential techniques we need to acquire to increase our positive energy within. In Pursuit of Angelic Power, available now on Amazon.